Okay, let me see the justification. Hang on one second. Here we go. In compliance with Public Law 24-109, Guam Ancestral Lands Commission published a public meeting announcement for Wednesday, July 28, 2021. The Guam Daily Post on Wednesday, July 21, 2021, and Monday, July 26, 2021. Director, roll call.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Chairman Nicolea,
Present.
Vice Chair Leguanya,
Yeah.
Secretary Treasurer Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Camacho. Mr. Chair, still waiting for Commissioner Camacho to log on.
Okay.
Commissioner Orlino,
Here.
Commissioner Rios,
Here.
Commissioner Wesley. Okay, Commissioner Wesley, on mute.
Sorry, here.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, we have 6 commissioners present. You do have a quorum.
Okay, sounds good. Buenas, everyone. Let's move to agenda item number 3, approval of minutes.
No, not really. I could use some, like, very little. Anemic? Oh yeah, anemic is like when we sleep a lot. And I got low blood. Little blood. Oh. Grandma got. Okay. Ashton, you're not going to eat your cake? We're going to wash it and I'll eat it. Ashton, you never even bit it. I don't even want to eat your cake. What? You should eat your cake. You don't want it? Then I'll have you. So you don't need to waste. There. You don't want it? At least take a little bite. Let's play Murder Mystery and also.
Chairman Ecclebea,
Okay, Commissioner Westling?
yes, are you calling for approval of all 3 minutes that are being presented here? The special meeting minutes plus the last regular board minutes?
Yes, but we could approve individually.
Okay. I'd like to motion to approve the June 30th minutes of the regular board meeting and the July 7th special meeting, subject to changes. I was absent from the July 14th special meeting, so I'm not moving to approve that one.
Okay, let's handle that motion. Just a motion on the floor for approval of the minutes. Do I hear a second? By the way, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our Commissioner Angie Camacho. She's joined us. Buenas.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second by Vice Chair Laguatnia. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays?
That's for the June 30, right?
June 30 and July 7.
Okay.
Any nays? I also approve. No nays. Approve the minutes passes. Okay, we're on the minutes for July 14th.
Oh, I thought Commissioner Westling said that since she wasn't present at the special meeting on the 7th, that she was gonna do the 30th and the 14th correction?
Yeah, her motion was to approve the minutes for June 30 and July 7th. She could not make the motion for July 14th because she
Okay.
wasn't.
Okay,
So we
that's
need action on agenda number 3, item C, July 14 minutes.
motion to approve, Commissioner Orlino, the minutes for July 14.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes of July 14, 2021. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Please.
Okay, we have a second on the floor. Commissioner Cruz. All in favor, say aye.
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 Jane.
Okay, I approve. Do we have a majority vote, Director?
Yes,
I think-
Mr. Chair, you have.
We have 5 ayes.
unanimous vote.
Okay, no nays, right? Any
No
nays?
nays.
Okay. Approval of July 14 minutes passes. Okay, to agenda item number 4, Executive Director's Report.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The following are the updates for the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. Um, the budget bill 55-36 we were informed on July 16th by Mr. Joseph Neston from the Senator Jolson Augustine's office that via email that the hearing for the bill relative to ancestral lands originally scheduled for July 19 was canceled. That the budget proposed for the commission will be presented to the committee of the whole as is. If we have any concerns, we have to contact the senator's office. And in my opinion, as I let you know in the past, as written, the budget will provide sufficient funds to continue operations of the commission as is, provided, once again, that BBMR refrains from placing any of the funds appropriated by the legislature into reserve. With the proposed budget, the commission will be able to hire at least one more employee, purchase supplies and equipment, and procure copier services, phone lines, and also set up our own website. If that occurs, we'll be able to accomplish that or start that on October 1, the beginning of the new fiscal year. Legal services, I know that some have had a little reservation me being making this known, but I feel that it is my fiduciary responsibility to inform the commission whenever there is any reason to believe, like we've had in the past with BBMR, or if any legal law or anything comes up that might impact our budget. So I felt it was important to place this in my report that recently I became aware that the current budget law for FY 2021, the Budget Act, provides that the Office of the Attorney General of Guam shall represent the CLTC at the Chamorro Land Trust Commission without charge. It's for non-litigation and land registration. It does not say for litigation. And what we all are concerned about, of course, is those that would have to go to court, because that's where the big money matters. Anyway, it's provided in writing. They could have this, the CLTC could have this provided to them, free services, provided they requested in writing via resolution. Now, the reason why it concerns us is that we have a three-way split with Attorney Tuff at this moment. He's the Assistant Attorney General assigned to us full-time. He represents land management, ancestral lands, and Chamorro Land Trust. And right now we split the cost of the attorney, which amounts about $129,000 three ways. Should any one of the two agencies wish to withdraw from the MOU, the remaining agency or agencies will have to pick up the total amount. That means in our case, our bill for the attorney would increase by another $20,000, $24,000. And that'll be annually. And should CLTC decide to withdraw from the MOU, then I would, of course, request that Ancestral Lands take action because we have a 60-day window period to withdraw from it. Because having to do that at this time, if that were to occur, we would be in a tight spot financially. We cannot afford to spend an additional $20,000 or more on anything else. We are running on a very tight budget. So I felt it was my fiduciary responsibility to inform the commission before things happen like I have in the past. But if anybody feels that there's a problem with that, please let me know. Okay, then getting on to the next part of my report on the roof repair of the EPA operations building in Marino Avenue in Tegan. The contractor who is repairing the roof of the EPA operations building in Tegan submitted a request to GITA for change order. They're requesting an additional $45,000 to complete the roof repairs. The current contract is $75,636. And the commission initially appropriated through two different resolutions a total of $93,000 to GITA for the project. And if you agree to the change order, we'll need to appropriate approximately $28,000 more. I visited the work site on July 22nd, and I can confirm that the request is valid. There are more cracks in the roof than could be reasonably anticipated. And that's why originally we came up with a two-part bid process, because we were unaware of what was below that roof covering. And because of that, additionally, what I found out during my visit to the work site, which was initially to find out was the request for $45,000 a legitimate request. Well, that visit resulted in more issues being brought to my attention. New issues came up because of the repairs. And because the contractor decided to remove all of the roof insulation at one time without sealing or immediately sealing the cracks in the roof, the heavy rain that occurred on Liberation Day, Wednesday, July 21st, caused a lot of water damage to the inside of the building. And so much of the light fixtures, the ceiling tiles, the asbestos tiles in the ceiling, the floor tiles, the carpet, were damaged, and I believe have to be replaced. What concerned me a whole lot more was EPA reported that some of the sensitive electronic equipment may have been damaged. And to prevent further water damage, the contractor agreed as a temporary measure to cover the entire roof with a tarp. And I did send you out pictures and videos of the whole thing so that you could review and see for yourself what's going on. Of course, if you want, we could all pay a visit to the EPA offices at any time. So I also attached a copy of the contract and the contractor with a contractor, Pro Pacific Builder Corporation. And I pointed out certain articles, 15.2, which has insurance, Article 16, change orders, Article 21.9, disputes, Article 21.15, that's the attorney fees and costs, and Attachment H, which is their performance bond, and page 53, which is their certificate of insurance. So I believe that they do have insurance to cover some of these issues. But then that's something I feel that GITA would probably will have to negotiate and hopefully come up with a solution, because I think the issue of slowing down the construction while we work this out would probably be a mistake, because if we don't finish the roof, we don't seal it, of course, more damage would occur. And should we come up with more than just a heavy rainfall with a storm, a tropical storm or typhoon, that would blow the top off the roof. And of course, there'll be huge leaks, more leaks in the building. Now, I know that when you looked at the picture, you couldn't really tell what was occurring there, but what happens is the roof is made out of precast concrete slabs that were placed down years ago. I think each part of the building has 16 or more slabs placed in them. And the sealant in between each of the slabs, there's no concrete there, has eroded over the years. That building was built back in the early 60s as a result, I believe, of Typhoon Karen, when they decided to harden all the buildings or structures on the island by building concrete buildings and discouraging building wooden buildings. So because of the sealant in between had eroded over time, it allowed for water to leak through the corners of all of those panels, all of those slabs. So it's not whether the leaks go all the way through. They do go all the way through. That's not a guess that they go all the way through. We do know that now. So it has to be sealed. And so that part I'll leave up to GITA to negotiate and give you a report on, but at least that's my part, and what I see is what's going on there. So I thank you for the opportunity to present the update. Let me know if you need more information. I'll try my best to give you an answer. If not, I see we have several representatives from GITA here that could respond to that. Okay, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director. Do we have any questions for the Director regarding this report?
Commissioner Orlino, EPA is requesting additional 45,000 more, right?
Yes.
Is that addition to the 75 that did they pay them out already 75 or additional to the 93?
The contract right now is for the 75. The 28 will be additional to the 93 because of the 75, they're asking for 45,000 more. GITA has not and will not issue complete payment. They're paying them in increments as is customary. So if anything occurs, GITA could hold back any funds transferred to the construction company if they don't comply with the contractual requirements. So I think that releasing $28,000 to GITA, GITA does operate and should continue operating in for us as our property managers, as our employees. So I think we could trust GITA with the extra funds. They have not spent, we could ask them right now how much money they have spent or transferred to Pro Pacific. I believe that now that they removed all the roof coating, they should have been paid or should be in the process of paying for the first increment.
So we have already transferred to GITA 93,000, right?
Yes. So
And,
28,000 will be sufficient.
So it's looking like a total of 120,000. So it looks like 27 more thousand to them after all the completion. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a little bit over 27,000. 20,000. We could get an exact number from GITA.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for the director?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Vice Chair.
Yeah,
Abanya?
this is in reference to the budget. Mr. Director, can you please note that we're in reference to the all rise monies that was appropriated for the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission, which amounted to 1.5 million. Are you aware that that isn't sufficient? That is an insufficient amount of money for extinguishment. I think that should be discussed with the board members, and to consider the Tijan landowners in this for the extinguishment of those, if that's what they're referring to, because that 1.5 out of the CARES Act monies or the All Rise monies out of the 660 million is minuscule for a matter that has been ongoing for years. And I think that the 1.5 million is compared to the other agencies that are getting huge amounts, and this matter has been ongoing. So that just place that on notice that we would like to sit down with the speaker. I mean the committee on finance to discuss that matter, Senator Joseph Augustine.
Mr. Vice Chair, I believe the speaker has requested to sit down with the commissioners. We have to work it out. I'll try to work it out with the speaker. She wanted to sit down with us and have kind of a work session with all the commissioners. But we have to work out a site, a location, discuss issues that with her. So it won't be a special.
So whatever is suitable.
Okay, but just to clarify on the All Rise Fund, actually it's the American Rescue Plan, the ARP, and federal money, and and that was a resolution from the legislature, not an appropriation. So it doesn't carry much weight except like a recommendation to do something that's the will of the legislature, but they have no direct authority to make that appropriation. So we're still waiting on that. We haven't gotten any approval of it just yet. So hopefully
I like to mirror the Vice Chair.
Go ahead,
I mirror his concerns, and I know hopefully it's not set in stone just yet.
It's not.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
but
because I believe that's coming from the governor's office.
That one came from the legislature, not from the governor's office. The governor's office is implementing the All Rise, which is to pay, I assume, $30 million to people who earn a certain amount of money. I believe individuals are 40,000 or less, couples 80,000 or less, about $800 a piece. So that was legislated,
Yes.
and the governor is trying to comply with it and get that out as quickly as possible. That's the old RISE program.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it's the ARP matter. Okay.
It is the ARP,
Yeah.
yes.
ARP.
Okay. Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
American
Director. Thank you,
Rescue.
Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for the director on his report?
I
Okay,
do.
Commissioner Rios. Commissioner Rios.
Thank you. I'm Mr. Director. Thank you very much for that report. I want to apologize, first of all, for being on a Zoom meeting while I'm in the car. I'm not driving though, so kind of.
Don't worry about that. As long as you're on the meeting, it's good.
But what I wanted to say was, I feel really bad for the contractor to have to do that kind of work under those circumstances. I don't think any one of us, including the contractor, knew. We knew that there were a lot of leaks in that building. We knew from prior to the work, as we did a tour. I did go on a tour of Mr. Birch and Mr. Diego, and also with some of the guys there, I guess from EPA. And I feel really bad for this contractor to have to be in a situation like this. Nobody wishes to be in a situation like this where you got to ask for more money to complete the job. I think that insulation though on the roof was more than just insulation. I think it was part of that sealant, you know, because like those pieces went down. That roof looks like it was pieced together. All those cracks looks like they are pretty equally spread apart. So it looks like that whole roof went down in pieces, and you know, it's unfortunate that these guys have to deal with this. But man, I would not want to be in their shoes right now. I'm sure that if they don't get somewhat of an increase, that might it might just be a problem on that repair, and I feel really, really bad for those guys. So I hope that we make you know, a good decision to get that building fixed properly. It's unfortunate, but I do feel really bad for them. But it is what it is, right, Mr. Birch?
Right.
Yeah.
From what I
agree.
understand, for sure, but from what I understand is that if it wasn't, you know, like a prefab and then it formed together like a puzzle, maybe what they put up there originally with the tar, maybe that's the procedure that was the, you know, the method for sealing that roof. If that was the method of construction, is from what I gather. So maybe what they're going to apply, we might need to revisit, but I think maybe we'll take that up with Gita. So Gita's going to give a report on that, right, Director? On the report today?
Yes,
It's
yes, they will. Commissioner
Okay.
Westling had her hand up.
More on that with Gita when in their report. But
Okay, oh, sorry. If we're going to discuss further details on the roof project, I'll refrain. I'll hold back my comments right now until
Okay.
that part. Thank
yes,
you.
so we'll take it up when Gita brings it up in their report. Sounds good. Thank you, Commissioner Rios. Yes, your points are very valid, and I agree. So any other questions for the director on his report?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Vice Chair.
Yes,
Ron?
I agree with Commissioner Rios. You know, the fact of the matter, the damage has occurred already. Now, if we don't do anything fast enough, we're going to suffer even more. Right now, the conditions of the weather again, it's coming up again. I see a lot of dark clouds. So we need to do what we need to do as soon as possible. So whatever recommendations Gita has to do and our director, I am in support.
Yeah, it's just a question of just how much
Issues
protection
Gita has to do
the tarps they
and
put up.
our director,
That's another question. But okay, any further questions for the director? Director Sejus Masi, for your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner.
Let's move on to agenda item number 5, Gita progress
Thank
report.
you, Mr.
Gita?
Chairman. Buenas and good afternoon. Mr. Chairman Acovea, Vice Chair Laguarnia, and all Commissioner Cruz, Camacho, Orlino, Rios, and Westling, as well as GLC Director Birch and staff. Good afternoon. My name is Tony Ariola, representing Gita, and I'm here to present to you the Gita monthly progress for the updated Gita monthly progress report. And along with me today is Mr. Diego Mendiola, RPD manager, Mr. Mike Cruz, our project director, and Ms. Mary Camacho, our supervisor. The following,
Buenas.
buenas. The following is a progress report on GIDA's efforts to manage land bank trust properties as required by Section 1 of the MOU between GIDA and GALC Land Bank Trust. First off the list would be Weddingale Junction, tenant Northern Market. GIDA received a formal letter dated July 9, 2021 from Northern Market requesting for extension and a full rent deferment for an additional 6 months from July 2021 to December 2021. The reasons given includes the rising cost of the construction of materials, as well as the limited availability of labor, which was aggravated by COVID-19 pandemic. Northern Market also stated that they are restructuring their financial strategies due to the high construction costs, the changes in design, and leasing strategies to reflect changes in the market for the main purpose of attracting potential tenants. We did provide the commission with an attached letter from Northern Market. GIDA also sends a formal letter via postal and email to Northern Market dated July 14, 2021, informing them of their extension of 1 additional month of rent deferment up to July 2021, and the expiration of full deferral and the requirement of a submission in writing of all supporting documents for the updated development plan and financial statements. The current invoice and statements for full rental deferral payment due were also attached, including payment options. A due date of acknowledgement and response via the formal letter is due July 31, 2021. Second tenant on the list is Apra Harbor Parcel Number 1, Quick Space. That tenant is current with their lease rents. Third one on the list is the Matson down in Apra Harbor Reservation. They're also current with their lease on the rent, and they made a payment on the retroactive appraisal adjustment for the amount of $35,529 on June 23rd, 2021. As for the lot Apra Harbor Reservation, the tenant still got a call from him Monday to say that he's going to be paying sometime this week for his lease payment. And that's pending, at least till this week. Moving on down to AT&T, the Tangisan Cable Landing Station in Dededo. They're current with their lease rent as well. Last but not least, the Guam Environmental Protection Agency, the GIPA roof repair. The latest contractor submitted payment application number 1 to GIDA. The invoice of the work completed to date, which includes the removal of existing roof coating, cleaning and disposal of all debris. And that payment due is for the amount of $12,142. Second item on the list is contractor also submitted their proposed change order number 1 to GIDA for review. This change order will compensate contractor for removing and disposing of the existing stainless steel flashing and to perform additional work required on the precast joints, the major cracks, and the exhaust pipe. GIDA has reviewed the proposed change order and assessed the field conditions with the contractor. And earlier we gave you a status update on the recommended action provided by the GALC director's report. Moving on down to Department of Public Health, the WIC. The MOU amendment to allow GIDA to collect lease rents as instructed by the commission was submitted to AG for review and certification on July 26, 2021. And this concludes the GIDA monthly progress report. Any questions?
Commissioners and Director, would it be okay? Am I allowed to share a screen with the commission? And this is in regards to the EPA roof.
Sure.
Okay. Let me see if I can do that. I need to be allowed if the host will allow me to.
Okay, Director Birch.
Oh,
Is he on mute?
Okay, there you go.
okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we
Okay.
can see it. I can see it.
Okay. This is my first time doing a share screen, so please bear with me. Okay. What you're looking at right now is the roof in 2019. As you can see, during that time, there were leaks happening within the building, but they were, somewhat localized. So what you're looking at right now is,
You
I'm
want to
sorry?
blow that up? You want to blow that up or?
This is as big as I can go.
You
Is,
can't open it.
are,
It's
are
okay.
you,
If
Oh,
you,
see, yeah.
if you double
Okay.
click on each of the pictures,
Can you double
will
click
it,
it and open it? We could have a.
does that help?
It's
No.
still the same. Can you double click it and open it?
Yeah, on my screen, I have double clicked and opened it.
Oh, it's not showing here on ours. That it's open. It's still showing all the images together.
that we're seeing the
Okay, let me
gallery.
try this. Can you see it now?
No.
You-
In order to show it, you have to unshare your screen and
Oh.
then reshare the next one. The way you set it up, you might not be able to do a slideshow. You might have to do it individually. So unshare your screen. You go to the bottom where it says share or unshare. Click on that and unshare.
Oh man, I'm sorry guys. I've never
It's okay.
done this.
Don't worry.
Okay, let me try this.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair,
Yes, Vice Chair Ron.
the situation that I see right now, man, that is dire emergency, bro. That's a lot of work. So I don't know. The way I see it,
Can you? I'd like to
Go ahead.
share. I just got my tech support here real quick. I just want to share and show these individuals. Are you guys able to see the whole picture now?
No, we're able to see the gallery, all the
Yeah,
small
the gallery.
The gallery.
clips.
What we're seeing is the gallery right now.
Oh,
To change it, you might have to unshare what you put on the screen,
I
but
have to
it
share.
won't let you
share,
change it unless you unshare it.
and your cursor.
We could see the cursor cursing a lot.
I apologize, but it's. Are you
There.
able to see it now?
There.
Okay.
you can see it.
Okay.
That looks
Thank you,
good.
sir.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
That is the roof, believe it or not. before.
Okay. So what you're looking at is the roof in 2019. Now
Yes.
this is a couple years
Yes.
ago. So there was localized leaking that was happening, and it was pretty bad. So at this point in time, this is EPA's attempt to stop the leak.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. This is a other view, same 2019. The rest of the roof, they got vegetation growing on the top, and still 2019. They had a papaya tree growing also.
Yeah.
From the
Okay,
birds.
now we get to 2021, and we have begun. The contractor has begun working. Now, what you're looking at is the roofing that was
Insulation.
applied. Yes, yeah, the insulation roofing. It's some kind of foam and gravel and maybe tar on top. So we're talking really, really old construction and thick, extremely thick. So this is the progress as the contractor was, removing the original roofing. Just some pictures of it as it falls off. I don't think I'm old enough that I've never seen this before in my life.
Yeah.
I had no idea construction was, roofing was done this way.
That was the
So this was-
military way. military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
where it
this was my
supposed-
first time to see something like this. You know, so you can see that, you know, the amount of, and just the sheer volume of old roofing material was, it was quite a bit. And you can see, you know, how thick it was, the different layers that it consisted of. Okay, now what you're looking at is the roof as it's clean, is as the roofing material was completely removed. Now, what you see here is something that I again didn't know that, you know, it was constructed in this manner, but each rectangle you're looking at is a separate slab, prefabricated
Yes.
slab.
Yeah,
So this building is constructed roughly in an L shape. Now, in each portion of that, you're looking at 16 individual slabs. So altogether, you have you know, more than 32 slabs, and it just so happened that after all the removing, all the roofing was removed, all of these seals, original seals, had deteriorated over time, and they failed almost all at the same time. And it also rained at that point in time, because as you're looking at, you know, the previous pictures when they were, you know, when they were working, you can see clear blue skies. But once the original roofing was removed, then the rain came.
Yes.
Liberation Day.
Yes.
So yeah, so, you know, as you can imagine, you know, there was a lot of water that penetrated the roof, and, you know, there was no staff in EPA at that on Liberation Day.
Yes.
And so some of the things that the contractor was faced with after removing was, number one, there's a lot more to seal than, you know, than could have possibly been anticipated. Another thing, another reason why for their change order is because along the lip of the roof was, you know, what do you call it? They call it flashing, stainless steel flashing. You know, part of its function, I believe, was to keep the old original material on the roof. Part of it was to prevent it from the water from falling off the side where you don't want it to fall. But, you know, this was the kind of stuff that the contractor was faced with. Now, when we spoke to the contractor, you know, all the water penetrated, and we said, contractor, get up there and do whatever you can to mitigate this. So this is pictures of what the contractor did, you know, for the meantime. And, you know, we're worried about the, you know, about a storm that can blow all this off, but, you know,
Yes.
they are taking efforts to, you know, to mitigate the water that's penetrating. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to show you so that, you know, you could see with your own
Yes.
eyes the conditions that the, you know, that the contractor is in, and the flashings that had to be removed. And
Yes.
yeah, and so, you know, the water was pooling. There's much more points of penetration than you know, than anyone could have thought, because the entire roof was covered, and it was covered a very long time ago. So that is the reason for his for the change order request. So with the budget that the commission has given us, we're asking for approval for an additional 28, so that the contractor can complete this work as contracted. Okay, I have stopped
Thank you.
sharing. Okay, no problem.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Western had her hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
Diego, thank you very much for all of those pictures. Really appreciate it, and truly appreciate the director's report when this was first discovered. Obviously, I'm collecting my thoughts here, and I'm sorry. Obviously, there is more work that needs to be done, and I believe it's the full intention of the commission that work progresses so that we take care of the problems that have been longstanding. However, I have to ask a few questions, okay?
Okay.
as far as the contractor is concerned, the contractor and their ability. When the director first sent pictures, okay, of what the roof looked like after the contractor decided to remove everything off of the roof, I showed the pictures to my husband, okay, and my husband immediately, just looking at the pictures, okay, recognized that that was not a monolithic roof, meaning a single pour roof, okay, and that it was a panel roof, and that a panel roof ceiling is much different from a monolithic single pour roof. And he said a panel roof is designed to have multi-layers of coatings of different things to placed on the roof for sealing, okay? And so, and he indicated to me that a roofing contractor should have recognized when they started to remove the layers of the old, coating on the roof, and you could see where all the white lines that were on the actual concrete. He says he should have recognized right then and there that we weren't dealing with a monolithic roof and that this was a paneled roof. And instead of just removing everything off the roof, there should have been a halting there, okay? And then if they recognized what kind of roof that was, as my husband feels that a roofing contractor should have recognized, okay? That by removing everything off of the roof, you would further expose joints and open joints and things of that nature. So I have to ask that question. Did the contractor, does he know the difference between, the different type of roof systems that are out there? So that was my one question. Number two, I'd like to see a copy. I'd like to see his change order request to see all, I guess, what the scope of work is going to entail in the change order, knowing now that this is not a monolithic roof and that it is a panel roof. How will it be, I guess, what does this current scope of work, will it indeed address and seal the leaks? Because this roof was designed for multi-layers of sealant on the roof and not just our standard, seal the joints, seal the joints and then put silicone over the top. I guess I just want to make sure that all of these things are addressed so that we're confident that the contractor knows now that he exposed the whole thing, what kind of roof he's dealing with, and whatever he's proposing to do is going to indeed be able to, seal the roof. Granted, it's an aged roof. Okay, it was built many decades ago. The building was built many decades ago. But I just want to make sure that whatever is now planned, now that we know everything about what this roof consists of, that it will indeed at least, give it a good tight seal on the roof, and that we're not going to, at the next rain still be experiencing the same problems. Again, I go back to, as my husband said when he saw the pictures, they should have recognized right away that they weren't dealing with a monolithic roof, and probably should have halted the removal of all the stuff so that damage to EPA's property could have been prevented. And so is it possible to get a copy of that change order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I'd
Yes,
like to look at it. I mean, I'm not, I guess I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. I think our intention, I want to see that roof corrected, But I also want to feel that there is some obligation on the contractor's part, okay? Whether or not we had clear skies, that we know we are in the rainy season. That is common knowledge on Guam. Okay, rainy season starts this time, and you never know when the big showers are going to come. Now, we had a huge one on Liberation Day that was not a surprise, because if you listen to our weather channel, okay, and you watch the videos, you can see clouds forming in all different directions. We have forecasts for so many days, ahead, and any prudent contractor, especially that's working with cracks on a roof, I would expect would be anticipating, these the natural elements, and have plans in place on how to mitigate and prevent, maybe not 100%, but at least a great percent of what happened on Liberation Day. And I think these things have to be taken into consideration when we try to mitigate what we're faced with, what we're having to do. I know we have to move forward, and we've got to get this addressed, but I just don't think that it's just a blanket, just please appropriate the money, because I think the contractor bears some responsibility on what happened.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you for listening.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry, Vice Chair Laguardia?
Yes, you know what? I am in total agreement with Commissioner Westling. Yeah, I want to thank you, Commissioner Westling, for having your husband provide that information to us. And I agree, at least have the contractor have some responsibility on that matter. And I am in total agreement. Well, we need to settle it, but they need to provide us what they're going to do now to really mitigate this matter. And let's see what the change order request is, because that ain't any ordinary type of roofing. Thank you.
Understood. I agree. Commissioner Westling?
Yeah, and please don't get me wrong. I feel badly for the contractor. Okay, I really do, and I want to work this out amicably for the benefit of everyone concerned. First, the commission, the contractor, and our tenant that's that's occupying the building. However, as my husband, so eloquently said, a roofing contractor should have recognized right away when they started removing the top, because like I said, my husband just looked at the pictures that the director sent, and immediately he said, that's not a monolithic roof. Okay, and there are different specifications, different requirements, as the director said, it was the contractor's decision to keep moving ahead with removing all of the coating and exposing the entire roof. So I feel badly for him. I think it's not just all totally, I think he bears some responsibility.
Totally.
Very good. I'd like to add something real quick that I know that we all experience, cracks in our roofs, in the past, and I think it goes all the way through to the 3 or 4 inch, maybe 5 inch roofing, and there is a method used to repair it and seal the leaks, but it appears that the original sealant that they used, because there was about maybe 16 panels or something, that might be a different construction procedure that they use, and then a roofing sealant, which is what they did, which was super thick. So we don't know if just a typical sealant is going to work, considering the fact that Gita's confirming that the original sealants that they use was compromised throughout the years. So I just wanted to add that. Commissioner Orlino, you had your hands up?
Well, I would agree with Commissioner Wesley, and we're thankful that her husband has common knowledge of that. First and foremost, the contractor should be aware that these buildings were ages ago. And if it's just for cosmetic version, I don't think so. They should have common knowledge to begin with if they are really into roofing. And we're happy that I'm very happy that at least Louisa's husband will recognize that because he has common knowledge of those things. And and it looks like it's a major now that they removed everything. It's really a major job. And with sealing this at present will be just a cosmetic. It's a major job. Thank you, Louisa. Thank you, Chair.
Just about to Commissioner Lino, it appears that it might be a legal question now as far as the liability. So I guess Dina would need to look into that, the legal question of how much they're responsible as far as the damage is concerned below with EPA. So I think it is a legal question. Any other questions? So I'm just basically concerned with the method they're going to use now, considering like what you just confirmed that there was a previous sealing process with the panels, and then another
Chair?
top. Yeah, Commissioner Leguan.
You know, it might not necessarily be a legal matter. If we can send them a letter of notice on what that we just discussed. As roofing experts, they should have, you know, stopped and immediately notified us that they would, you know, that this is a different situation. So I think maybe perhaps we can have our agents send them a letter of notice on the matter, indicating that they must take a certain amount of responsibility. And then from there on, if they contest, then that's when the legal ramifications come about. But a letter of notice would not be of any you know, harm for us and for them.
Very good. Can we get some input on that?
Commissioner Camacho had her hand up.
Who?
Camacho.
I'm sorry.
Camacho.
Who's got their hands up? Oh, Commissioner Camacho.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also our property manager, Gita, needs to understand the damages as well. The extent of the damage happened downstairs. I think that there were damages to the building as well as some personal property that belonged to Gita from this downpour on July 21st, I believe. So Gita, are you familiar with the damages to the inside of the building as well as the tenant's property?
Yes, ma'am. We you know, when we were informed about this, you know, went up to the site, met with EPA, met with the contractor, and you know, that was when the contractor told me, look, Diego, this is all what's that called? This is all prefabs. And you know, I spoke with the director, what's his name? Walter. I spoke with Walter downstairs with his staff. And yes, he did give me a tour of, where all the water is penetrating. So yes, I am going to meet again with Walter and the contractor to really assess, how much damage is there. Because, I did a quick look around, but, I do intend to meet with Walter again, to get a full assessment. So
there's
yes.
damages to their property, but there's also damages to the building inside, to my understanding as well. The water came in, I believe, maybe some vinyl tile or something to that effect, maybe some carpeting, if I'm not mistaken. Damages to the building is what I'm also talking about. So there's maybe two things here that, in addition to what they discovered on the roof being a paneled roof, and more work was needed to get done. But there's also damages to the inside of the building. Now the flooring, I think, needs to be addressed, right, as a result of the rain
That's right.
into the building. So I think there's two additional things that we need to discuss, which is whatever additional damages inside, as well as Gita's property. So please don't forget the damages to the inside of the building as well.
Yeah, that's EPA property.
The flooring, the tiling is EPA property. I
No.
think that, yeah.
No, the personal property of EPA. EPA is the tenant, and at this point, I would not want to be so specific, having EPA investigate any other work site of theirs. So, but I believe that Gita should, because they are the one that signed as the contracts between them and Pro Pacific, that they should get together and work out a solution using their legal attorney, to come up with a solution that they can pass back to us, so we can make a decision on that. I think that's the process. But immediately, I think the big thing is we got to fix that roof. It will be in bad shape if we do get a storm. And this is typhoon season. We just rolled into it, so we know it's imminent. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And for those of you who've been farming, like our vice chair, you don't know too much about that. I think Commissioner Rios had his hands up.
Commissioner Rios.
Thank you, Mr. Birch, Mr. Chair. I'm just, I do feel really bad. Again, I can't help but say it, but I do feel really bad for that, for our tenant. I don't know if anybody has gone up to that building prior to the roof work being done. And yes, you're right. Commissioner Camacho, there is some damage to the flooring, the carpet, the tile, all that. It's only worsened. It hasn't. That's not those pictures you see of the interior are not pictures that just happened since July, or the damage that happened since July 21st. Those damages have been in there, it looks like, years.
Mm-hmm.
It's old. That damage just got worse. I mean, more water, no doubt, has come into that building, but there's numerous trash cans and throughout that building, because I went on that tour with Mr. Birch, and I was really surprised, to see that. And I felt really bad. And that our tenants are actually still working in that office in that condition. If this were anywhere else, if this were in the States and they had leaks like that, and mold and mildew in there, that building would have been condemned by EPA. So that's the funny thing about it is, if those guys can't go out and cite people for mildew when they got it right there in their office. So I feel really, really bad for those guys. And you're right. You're absolutely right, Commissioner Westling. They should have known. If they were roof repair people, they should have known. And I wish that Commissioner Westling, you'd shared that information earlier. That if you had gone on that tour and maybe shared that experience with your husband back then, we would have been able to put that in that scope of work, that this is the kind of roof we're dealing with. And maybe we would have narrowed down the quotes and got something a little bit more closer to the actual repair of that type of roof. I feel really bad for those guys. I feel really bad for the tenant. Also feel bad for the contractor who has to deal with work like that. If anybody's in the service industry, man, it's tough. And trying to make, to try and quote something properly and do the job properly. So I feel really bad. They should know what they're doing. But at the same time, it's a difficult situation. I do recall us talking about how we were going to increase those that expense to repair it based on how long those cracks were. I think we had that discussion, if I'm not mistaken. And if it was going to be this long, we're going to go by linear feet. What are we going to do about it now that the cracks are on 32 panels? And what are those panels? 15 feet wide or whatever? If we had to pay that by the linear feet of cracks and damages, I think it's going to be in excess of $40-some thousand. So just something to think about. That's just my thoughts on it. Thank you again, Gita, for that report. So I feel bad again for those guys, but that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Westling has her hand up.
Yeah. And Commissioner Rios, I echo your feelings for the contractor as well. And that's why I stress that that we still need to keep moving forward to resolve what we've started out with. Unfortunately, like I said, the roof coatings, old coating was just removed recently. So until all of that was removed, I don't think any of us knew what kind of roof system was up there, and certainly not my husband until he just recently saw the pictures that the director shared with us. I guess the only thing that I go back to is that when they did start, to scrape off that old roof coatings and started to expose sections of the roof, as my husband pointed out, they should have, if they roofs, what they were dealing with, and that they, if they did know and if they did understand, they would not have never ever removed everything off the roof at one time. And I know that's neither here nor there now, and we move forward in trying to resolve and correct what was done. But again, I still feel the contractor bears some responsibility.
Can we get, thank you, Commissioner. Can we get Gita to comment a little bit on the legal aspect of what's going on, the liability? I know it might be a little bit early, but
yeah, Mr. Chair, our contract does provide for, certain avenues to remedy damages, and we will have to consult with our lawyer, on which is the best to go. But just on experience, these are two separate situations on this project. One, of course, is who bears responsibility, and to what degree. But the more important thing, or I'm sorry, not the more important, but the more pressing thing, part of this project is that we really need to get the roof sealed. And so I'd like to keep keep these two issues separate, and strongly ask the commission, please, let's seal the roof, and then we can have all the discussions of the degree of responsibility that the contractor bears. But number one is please let's seal the roof.
Diego, can you please get that change order to us
Yes, ma'am.
as quickly as possible? Because I think all of us would like to see what
Yes,
exactly is specified, what the scope of work is, and for Gita to please confirm whether or not what they're proposing, okay, is going to seal a paneled roof.
yeah, is it going to be a permanent, or is it a temporary, like what they originally planned to do? Is it still adequate for what it calls for to repair that type of roof?
Well, sir,
Would
part
it
of
be
their work order is to perform leak tests. After they coat the roof, they're supposed to perform leak tests. So I imagine that's bringing all the hoses up to the roof and just pouring as much water as they can on it to see if there's any leaks.
if they don't really do the proper technique for that type of roof, maybe it'll work for the testing, but maybe as time goes by, maybe I'm just concerned that it's the proper, maybe after seeing it, they say, oops, I think this is what we got to do now.
Well,
that's all I'm about. Yeah,
yeah.
maybe oh, well, since this is a panel roof, sorry, this is what we need to really do to get this thing to be a permanent fix. As opposed to maybe,
Yeah, their contract also requires some warranty, on their work for X number of years. So, there's also that. But, before we before we head down, that avenue, I'd still just really want to stress the need to just seal it already, so that, so that we're not using tarps anymore.
Okay, but you have no concerns about the panels, the sealants in the panels themselves that probably goes down, down to,
Well,
that's what I was
I mean,
basically.
yeah, I mean, the contractor has, has indicated that, for those portions, it's like it's a cloth and mortar type
Okay.
of a seal, before they put the, the regular seal that we're all familiar with. So that's what he's saying. That's part of what they need to do in order to seal all those the joints between all the slabs.
Okay, can you just verify that that's what it is with them? That's what they need to do, if you don't mind?
Yes.
That's what
Yes, sir.
it calls for?
The change
Yes, sir.
order should specify the detailed scope of work.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I have a comment,
Commissioner, Vice Chair Ron?
Mr. Chair. Yeah, just to clarify, Commissioner Camacho's comments earlier, I think she meant EPA's as the tenants. She kept mentioning GITA. So I just want to clarify that on record, that she was probably meant to say EPA, because they are the tenants. Those are the ones that incurred their equipment damage.
That's
And not GITA.
correct. It's the tenant. That's correct. EPA is the tenant. GITA is, but GITA is the property manager in this case, correct? That's GITA. I was just talking about their role in this. So I just want to make sure that GITA, in addition to addressing the sealing of the roof, they also there are additional issues now, right, with the inside of the building as well. So yes, the tenant is EPA.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so where are we at now? What do we do?
Mr.
What's
Chair,
next?
you have a choice. We can approve a resolution for additional 28,000 in advance, but not approve the contract or the change order, at least to get the money transferred to GITA, because when we do prepare that, before I transfer any money, we need approved minutes to present to Coast 360 before funds are transferred to GITA. At least get that in process, because then we know that that's what they're requesting. But what they're requesting, I think, is for what Mr. Medjola specified, to put some kind of seal over the cracks and then put a coating above it. But I also understand the difference between panel roof and monolithic roof. What if the desired result or the desired solution is to pay for another monolithic coating of roof over it, another cement slab, in short, over the whole thing? That may cost quite a bit more, unless we're going to continue with the original recommendation of placing the epoxy on it and covering the roof with a silicone layer of paint, which is a silicone sealant that most of us do use. And it's possible that with the way roof coatings are made today, that might be sufficient. That part I'm not an expert on. Excuse me. But
Okay.
I see that as the option, and where we can approve the 28,000. I prepare the resolution, and at the next meeting, you could approve the way the resolution is written, and have the money transferred to GITA as soon as possible, so we could fix the roof before the rainy season gets any worse.
Commissioner Wessling, are you fine with that, Commissioner Wessling? Because I know you wanted to see the change order first.
Is the change, I mean, Diego, you have the written change order with the scope of work?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in our packet? Did we get that?
No, I didn't. It didn't get into your packet. I didn't have enough time to get it into your packet, but yes, I do have a copy of it.
So what What's your take on it, Commissioner Weston? You want to see it now? Do we have time to look at it now?
I didn't-
Share screen.
Oh, can you share, can you have it in your computer? Can you screen share it?
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay, sounds good.
okay. Uh,
yes.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to attempt, I'm going to attempt again to screen share.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, I would be, okay, recognizing the need, okay, for more funds, to get this thing done. I would approve the funds, but I just don't, I hesitate, you know, without being able to see the scope of work and actually, you know, getting assurance from the contractor that now that he knows what kind of roof it is, that the work that he's proposing is going to work, okay? So while I would be okay with appropriating the money, subject to approving the scope of work. I don't know if I could do that, if you could do that, you know, because I realize it takes time to appropriate. We've got to do all this stuff, so and time is of the essence. But I just by me saying, okay, let's appropriate the work, doesn't mean the money that I'm approving what they're proposing, because I don't even know what they're proposing to do, how to resolve.
Correct.
We
Okay.
could appropriate the money, but not approve the change order.
Yeah, because appropriating the money, I see it as, okay, we're giving it, we're putting it in Gita's hands, we're saying, we don't spend that money yet until we have approved the change order, and we have a clear understanding, hold on one second, please. And that the contractor too, you know, I want him to,
That's the
yeah, I want him to do a good job, okay? And I understand if it's gonna take more money. I understand, I think we all understand, but whatever he's proposing, I want to make sure that now that he knows what he exposed and what he's got to deal with, that whatever he's proposing, it is going to work, okay? And we're not going to come back again later on, you know, saying that, no, you know, because of this, and this. So
okay. I think we can go ahead and move with those conditions, at least getting confirmation also from the contractor that after, you know, after analyzing the roof, knowing that this is the proper procedure, this is the proper repair technique. I'm good with it too. Is that okay with everybody?
Sorry,
Commissioner Rios?
I'm also okay with the increase to fix the roof. I think that maybe if Diego can possibly consider doing a change in the warranty, maybe to increase the warranty for another couple of years, and then when that is all said and done, we take a visit to the roof during rainy season and see if there's any puddling going on up there in the top. Because wherever the puddles are, that will eventually be where the problem will probably start, if there's going to be any problems at all. And I don't, just the whole situation with that roof is difficult, and it's unfortunate for the contractor and for EPA that it happened, but the whole roof itself is not set up even to drain like that. You know, I'm sure when you pour your roof at home, you put drain spots up there and you lower those sections to make sure that the water drains there. That kind of roof was probably not set up to be like that without any other insulation. It was the insulation they later put that they probably pitched so that the roof would drain. So maybe there was an imperfection on the way the roof was laid in 50 years ago, and then putting the insulation and the sealant on top, and then pitching that sealant and insulation to make it drain properly worked for 50 years, and now it failed. But I would just ask Diego, if anything, I'd say go ahead, let's move forward, because this needs to get done. But I think maybe let's consider discussing with the contractor to increase the warranty for a few more years, and of course on that final payment, before he gets that final payment, that we at least go up there and say, hey, you know, we're going to fill this roof with water. If there's no puddles on it, then I think we're good to go. But if there is a puddle, that area where the puddle is, we mark it. He digs it out. He redoes that section to make it slightly higher than the rest of the roof so that we don't have a puddling problem. Diego, what are your thoughts on that? Commissioner Westling, what are your thoughts on that? I know that it's just not stuff that we're used to. I'm not a roof guy, but I don't want those puddles on my roof.
And I agree
Thank
with you, Commissioner Rios. I too am not a roof expert, you know, personally. So Diego, I'd like to ask you, because Commissioner Rios just brought up a good point about puddling, okay? And since this roof was, it is a completely different system, okay? Whereby all the layers and coatings of sealant and insulation, I think basically the mitigating factors for puddling was probably implemented in those layers versus the bare concrete, okay? And so does the change order include leveling of the roof to ensure that puddling, since we're not going in with the multi-layer sealant system, that is the you know, our
Yes, ma'am.
provision to level the roof to ensure that no puddling, you know, will occur, because as Commissioner Rios pointed out, typically that's where leaks, you know, generate when we have standing water on the roof. If a roof drains properly, then a lot of times you don't run into problems unless there's a huge crack, you know, in the roof.
Diego, correct me if I'm wrong, the vegetation there as well is where the building was an additional section added to that original building, correct?
Yes,
is that where that vegetation on the roof is? Because it looks like that's a lower area. If I'm not mistaken, it looks like it's a lower area, and they added a roof section to that old roof section that was already there. I don't know if it was they did something or they added something else to that building to accommodate something else later on after that construction. And that could have been where the whole problem started, you know, because they obviously had to chip away at that insulation and sealant to add another section of concrete to that. And then now that area that's been disturbed has now become the entryway for the water to get in there and cause problems throughout the whole building. So I don't know. I'm not professional, but I mean, I just think that, you know, it was, I'm sure the design was good. I don't think it was set up to last 100 years though. So maybe that's why we need to do this now. Thank you. Thanks for all your work up there. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, Commissioner Westling, to your and also Commissioner Rios, to your point about ponding, when I was up there with the contractor, he did indicate, I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 locations, where ponding was occurring, and he did inform me that those sections need to be, taken up a little higher, so that to eliminate the ponding issue. So just to answer both Commissioner Rios and Westling's concern about the ponding, yes, he did identify, and yes, he did propose the fix to it. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, just a
Mr.
side.
Chair.
Yeah, just a quick side. Gita basically has intention of moving to a new development or developing their own office spaces. I think that's what's going on. So I just want to make sure that we don't have to address the roof again when they move out, and all we have to do is just basically refurbish the place for our next tenants. Commissioner LeGuan?
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Rios and Commissioner Westing. Yeah, that ponding is very vital. I'm experiencing that here at home. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Commissioner Rios. That is very important. That is crucial, and that should be included. Thank you.
So can we get a motion on the floor with those conditions? Isn't this where we're at?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Commissioner Westling.
See if I can, okay. I motion that we approve the dollar amount requested for the change order, subject to reviewing the change order, subject to approving and reviewing the change order that the contractor is requesting, that this change order be in writing and that it would be in detail as to what the change order scope of work entails. And subject to assurance that whatever this scope of work that is being proposed, that we have yet to review, will address and repair the now understood panel roof system. Period.
Would your motion entail having the board to review it on the next hearing before it gets approved?
I would like I said, for things to keep moving. So if Gita can please provide that as quickly as soon as possible, and to meet with the contractor this week, okay, to discuss the assurances that we want, and to get a full understanding from the contractor as to how his change order is going to be executed. What methods are they going to be using to, a detailed explanation of the method and the materials as to how it's going to be applied, and how it's going to work. How it's going to work. I'm a lay person, okay? I just want an explanation. How, you know, he says, I need this a change order. I need additional money. This is what we're going to do to ensure that the problems are corrected. I need that to be explained to me. And the sooner they can do that, the better. I really don't want to have to wait until our next meeting 2 weeks from now. If this can be arranged, and the information, you know, provided ASAP, and then I'm sure, you know, and given to all board members, I'm sure we can move on this fast, right? I would think.
Okay, can we get discussion on her motion?
I think you need a second first, Mr. Chair. We
Oh,
have a
yeah.
motion, but no second.
Correct. Okay, correct. Do I hear a second?
Are we still, I'm sorry, are we still in discussion?
Well, so there's
We
a
have
motion.
Second,
So
then
we need
discussion.
we need a second in order to move to discussion.
I'll second it.
Okay,
I'll
we have a second by Commissioner Camacho. Okay, discussion. So any input on her motion?
I have discussion.
Yes, Commissioner Cruz?
Yes, my concern on the change order is that we may be condoning that the contractor is not responsible for that, for immediately securing the roofing in anticipation of, there's somebody should have been there, a building inspector, so that this things and the weather, the inclement rain, I mean, they should have been prepared for that. So somebody's liable when we approve their proposal, the contract, there should be like, of course, there's job specification. Everything should have covered the immediate sealing of the roofing as soon as those debris and those slabs were removed. So that is my big concern. That's just my thought.
Okay.
And concern.
Okay. Commissioner Camacho?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too am not, I'm not a roof specialist. And I'm just wondering if maybe DPW can assist us. I don't know, Diego, are you familiar with panel roofs and how to properly seal it? Do we have a professional, an engineer or somebody that can advise us on this, on the right method to do this work? I don't feel like we have a specialist in this area advising us. So, Diego,
I myself am not a roof, a multi-panel roof expert. I have never seen this before, but I mean, EPA has an engineer. I can ask him if, what the contractor proposes is seems reasonable to fix the problem. I just want to, I can't express enough how we really need to stop the water from getting in there.
understood. But can you engage? I understand the urgency of this, but I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing as well. And I just feel like at this point, we need professional advice. The contractor's saying, this is my change order. I don't even know what it says, but can we just get some expert advice on this type of roof? Because I don't think any of us here who's trying to make this decision has any expertise in this.
That's right.
I agree. Really great point, Commissioner Camacho. And Diego, the sooner, if you guys can reach out to DPW, this week, and then, just get their input. I think we could better move forward on approving, everything rather than what I just initially, approved, because my hesitation is that I just don't know anything about, about roofs. And we just want to make sure that whatever is being proposed in the change order is the solution.
Okay,
so maybe I need to withdraw my motion then.
Are you withdrawing your motion?
Well, unless I can, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, let's get back to that. But Commissioner Cruz had her and then Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Cruz.
Okay, there is over at Public Works, the Guam Contractors Organization. And whenever there's a complaint, I understand that they were able to address concern. I had a friend of mine who's not too long ago had the contractor did her floor and it wasn't level and money was already released. So what she did, she went to the Guam Contractors Organization and they made this contractor go back and make those corrections at his own costs.
Yes, that is correct, Commissioner Cruz, but I don't think that we are finding fault with the contractor as far as what he's done so far. Well, I don't think we're at that point right now, I guess, of arguing. As far as, liability, we are more, I think, trying to address whether or not we're going to move forward on the change order. In light of what has been discovered, I agree, and I still hold fast that the contractor bears some responsibility for the damages that were done inside the building as a result of he, removing all the layers and then not protecting the roof after they exposed the whole thing. But I think for the moment, we are trying to focus on just, I guess, moving forward, continuing on with the work, and but assuring, as Commissioner Camacho pointed out, that whatever he's proposing, we do, I agree, we need some expert opinion as to whatever he's proposing. Once we see the change order, is it the correct, is it the correct repair action?
I understand.
Okay, Commissioner Rios?
How about we move forward? I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but we move forward with the to approve the increase, but the change order is subject to approval by DPW engineer instead of us. I think we're gonna read this again, and we're gonna ask ourselves and question ourselves on how well we know roofs again. And I think that if we just go ahead and move forward, Diego, and we put a motion on the floor to approve the increase, and it's just subject to an approval stamp by DPW or an engineer, certified engineer, that can say that this contractor has provided this scope of work, and that his method of making this repair should suffice and will work for years to come. I think that way we are saying yes to the increase, but the only thing is not that it comes back to us for approval, because I think that's just going to push things on a little longer. And I'm all for moving forward one step after the other. And I think that we let the professionals give their stamp of approval, and we're good to go. So I mean, if that'd be something, I think Diego, you could easily work that out, contractor, and just go ahead and make sure that he gets that approved by a certified engineer, and we should be good to go if everybody's okay with that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get I'll do my best to get an engineer to take a look at, what the contractor's proposing. Yeah, I'll do that as fast as I can. I'm just trying to think of which contract or which engineer, but I'll do my best and report back I'll keep in contact with the director to let him.
I think if it's something that somebody has to pay for, this is something worth this is something the contractor, maybe this is where the opportunity for the contractor to take some sort of step of some responsibility here and say, hey, I am going to pay an engineer to look at this. I hate to do that, because I just feel really bad about this whole problem in itself, but it probably wouldn't cost more than, $1,000, I think, for an engineer to look this thing over and say, everything looks good with the exception of this. If you make this change, bring it back to me, I'll sign off on it that it's good to go. And we're done.
Okay, sir.
But yeah, I mean, he spends a little bit of money, but he gets his approval for $40-some thousand, I think, is something worth taking that chance with that. I feel comfortable with that if everyone else does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, sir. Will do.
Well said, Commissioner Rios. I can support that motion.
Well, I think your original motion kind of like covers that per se, or do you need to amend it?
I like the way Commissioner Rios put it because it was much more concise and to the point. It's basically, approve the increase in the appropriation, but subject to a professional engineer or DPW engineer certifying that the change order that is being proposed is the correct corrective action to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish as far as weather sealing that roof.
Okay, so we'll take that as an amended motion.
An amendment.
Director?
Okay. Yes, I was gonna
amended
ask,
motion.
is she's amending her motion? And
Yeah.
that would suffice?
Okay. So,
And Commissioner Camacho, who's seconding, will she concede to that
you still
amendment?
second that?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we do have a
Second.
motion there.
She has a second on the amended motion.
Yes.
So we have a
Yes.
motion and second, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, no further discussions. I'm just gonna go by a majority vote. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
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 I,
Okay. Any nays? No nays, motion passes. So just mase, guys. Thank you. Okay, we move to item number 6 on the agenda, old business.
Mr. Chair, before we move, I think Gita had another item there concerning Northern Market.
Oh, that's correct. Yes, I know
Yes.
you finished your
Yeah,
presentation.
the file
So let's go
expires-
back. Let's go back
expires
to,
the end of the month.
I think that's the top of their presentation. Okay. I know you completed your presentation, so let's go to Northern Market.
Tony, could you please just refresh the commission on Northern Market's request?
Sure. Gita received a formal letter from Northern Market on July 9. They're requesting for an extension of full rent deferment for an additional 6 months to run from July to December. Commission, we went ahead and approved for a 1-month rent deferment for them up to July. So this full rent deferral will only be from August to December. And yeah, that's the request from Northern Market for an additional actually 5 months of rent deferment that would commence from August to December 2021.
Okay, and they gave a reason why in the letter. So any discussion?
Yes, the reasons given were the rising cost of construction and material and the limited availability of labor. And they also mentioned that they are restructuring their financial strategies due to the construction costs, the changes in design and leasing strategies to reflect changes in the market for the main purpose of attracting, I guess, potential tenants for the commercial building.
They did also factor in the COVID or something, right? The pandemic?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Discussion?
Do they owe?
They're asking for a 5-month, correct? 5-month
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
to December.
Commissioner Camacho has a hand up, Mr. Chair.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman,
Miss-
may I ask a question to Gita?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, assuming we grant another extension until the end of the year, did they indicate payment? So, can we expect full payment come January 1st? Is that realistic? Or do you know anything about, because I think our biggest concern is just the growing amount of rent owed to Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. So what can we expect come January 1st as far as payment? Do you know anything about that?
Well, we recently, sorry, there's a plane passing overhead. I was able to speak to Carlos. He's, coming off of a really bad health situation, but he did indicate to me that he does understand, how much of a payable that their group has accumulated over the years. What he told me was that, that they're just asking for this last 6 months. He indicated that they will not ask for any more extensions. They're not asking for any reprieve as far as the amount and interest that has accumulated over this time. And he and his group also have gotten to the point where, they, no matter what happens, they have to move forward. So that was what he had told me when I had spoken to him last, about 2-3 weeks ago. And so after that conversation, then he submitted this letter that was given to you. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the information that I do have.
It's not in writing, right?
Well, the letter he gave, that's the writing part, the conversation I had. Yeah.
It says Commissioner Westling has her hand up.
Commissioner Wesson?
Diego, thank you for talking with Carlos. And yeah, I have the same question as Commissioner Camacho, in that did he give any indication as to, if given the 5-month extension, where they expect to source payment of what is outstanding? Do they have something that's, that's going to be coming in at the end of the year that would ensure full payment, partial payment, or something, or was it just, and I don't mean to sound harsh or anything like that, in light of everything that, the pandemic and the construction industry challenges that, we've all been experiencing, the whole island has, for the past couple of years. But did he indicate, I mean, some source that if we do give them another 5-month extension, that there will be some kind of payment at the end? Or are we just going to do another 5 months, and then at the end of 5 months, it's the same thing, and they say, they move forward by walking away from it, or, we're left kind of holding the bag? So was there any kind of assurance or something to say, this is what we've got planned, okay, and this is what we expect to, that might be coming in, and things of that nature? And I realized, when you spoke with him, he was just coming off of a serious health thing. So, but was there any indication, or have you heard anything about his group? Is there anything that they might be doing out there where we, could see some kind of payment coming? I don't know.
No, ma'am, not at this point. I had asked, when I spoke to Carlos, I had asked him, I told him, Carlos, you really need to submit something in writing that I can give to the commission. That letter that he gave, that's what he gave me. I have not yet spoken to him since, but I will do so again. But, as soon as I'm able to get to him, because I understand he's also, right now, he's currently off island for his condition. That's
Sure.
kind of,
Okay.
I don't want to go into what condition he has, but yeah. But I will, as soon as I contact him.
Okay. Thank you, Diego.
Further questions? Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, I just have a comment that the deferment that's given to Northern Market expires at the end of this month. So if no action is taken, then the amounts will be due.
What does Gita recommend? I didn't know. Did you put a recommendation?
No, sir, we did not put a recommendation at this time. We're, you know, I mean, overall, you know, we'd like to support, you know, our local businesses. And I mean, Gita understands, you know, the position the commission has been put in, you know, regarding this situation for a long time. And so, you know, I mean, just right now, I would, I don't know if I'm making this official, but, you know, personally, I would try at least one more month so that we can get Carlos to answer all of the questions that you had posed. You know, and that's just like a firing off the hip kind of recommendation, at least so that, you know, you have questions, at least to give Carlos a chance to answer them. I would say 1 month as opposed to his requested 5. That's what I would recommend.
Okay, so you're recommending 1 month.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Rios, you have your hands up.
Yeah, thank you, Diego, for that report. And I'm like the guy that always comes on and says, "Man, I feel bad," but I do feel bad. You know, I don't know what kind of treatment I would like if under any circumstances that I have some kind of illness that you know, that something would happen to me, and how much time I would need for someone to give me an opportunity to speak. And I think it's a great idea for Diego to give him a month. I think even a month would probably not be long enough if he's still off island, and would probably come back and need some recovery time. And we don't even know that if he even be safe to travel. We don't know what kind of condition. I would like to see this project work. And you're right, there isn't a lot of local developers here. And it's not like this is the first project for Carlos. I think he's got a bunch of other really cool housing projects that I think some of my, you know, that you know, Guam is utilizing. It's a great program that he's doing. And yeah, I think to give him some time would be the right thing to do. That's my opinion. I think 1 month will come sooner than we think. That's 2 meetings away from here. I think we should give him a little bit. My recommendation is to give him a little bit more time. Maybe not 5 months though, but maybe we meet halfway and maybe give 2 or 3 months and give him some time to come back and discuss this. I really would like to see this project go. I'd like to see it go while I'm on the board. It'd be kind of cool to be part of this. So yeah, that's my take on that. I want to see 2 or 3 months if possible, but you know, that's just me. Thank you.
That I think I like Luisa's suggestion that 1 month will be to let us know what our changes and how he's going to generate money and how he's going to be able to pay us that lump sum payment in January. So we need to you know, look at his plans, because there is a lot of developers that we have a lot of potential developers for that area that he's been holding. So it is not to, I mean, it is the extension additional month, but within that 1 month, we want to see his plans.
Well, considering that he has a medical condition, I'm not sure whether it's something to put on him to be thinking about his having to respond in a month while he's off being medically treated or something like that. But well taken. Any other Commissioner Rios is saying 2 to 3 months, but any other comments? Commissioner Wesley.
I support Commissioner Rios's suggestion of, you know, giving him a couple of months to respond to the questions that we posed here to Diego. And if not him, because of his health issues, he's got partners, okay? And we did state at the last meeting that, you know, we welcome, you know, discussion with either himself or with his partners to, you know, to give us an explanation. I appreciate what he's written, but it's so broad and so general that it just you know, it just begs the questions as to, you know, are we extending with really nothing, no hopes of anything really happening, or so yeah, I support what Commissioner Rios was suggesting in light of his current health situations. Give him maybe at the most 2 months to come before and provide a more detailed details to support his request.
Okay, Commissioner Rios is saying 2 to 3 months. You're saying 2 months. Okay, Commissioner Camacho?
I feel compelled to consider an extension, maybe 2 to 3 months, but I'd also request, in addition to a plan on how they can start paying, right? Come January 2021. But also if we can maybe look at some preliminary plans. Those are the two things that I'd like to see as the condition to considering the extension. So 2 months and then possibly till December, but to meet certain conditions within the next 2 months, which is preliminary plans perhaps, and a payment plan. I don't know if it would be great if they said, oh, we'll pay it all in January 1st, but is that realistic? I don't know. That's my take on it.
Well, I would think that, I know they're not generating any revenue off of the property, so probably they should have maybe some what, startup funds or whatever. Because I don't see how they could just come up with a plan. Basically, they will just probably say, okay, we're going to start making these payments, right? Is that what you mean by a plan? I think.
So two things, preliminary building plan so that we can, I know that he's mentioned that they've reconsidered the design of the building to factor in situations like COVID. So maybe more drive-through features for the tenants. But what I'm asking is if they can provide us within the 2 months their plan to pay the arrears and moving forward on the monthly rent and preliminary design on the concept on the building, so that we know that the design is moving forward, right? With how he mentioned to us, he was redesigning the building to factor in more drive-through type features for the tenants. So I'm just asking if they can, within the 2 months extension, provide two things: the plan, preliminary building plans, so that we can see that the design is moving forward. And the other thing is how they will pay the arrears plus the rent moving forward.
May I add?
Okay. Tony,
Yes, may I just add that originally when we gave them this deferment way back in 2017, the condition was they wanted a deferment for 1 full year. And then the condition was they were going to make a balloon payment of paying the whole 1 year. And that term still stands up to this day. When I send the letter, it says, based on the extension terms as listed above, as well as the original deferral granted to Northern Market, we gave them 2 payment plan options for the deferral. Either they pay us the lump sum payment of $873,000 of what they owe us by August 1st, 2021, or if that lump sum doesn't happen, They pay us a monthly installment. We broke this down into a year, a monthly installment of 72,000 of the total of 873 lump sum, plus the full monthly rent of 25,322. That's the terms. That is the conditions of how they will be paying come their due time of paying if we were to give them an extension. And that has always been the condition previously since 2017 when we granted them a deferment. And this was part of the letter that we sent out to him on July 14.
You could attach that.
I'm sorry?
You could attach that to the letter that you send out.
No, that I did not attach that letter, but I can send it to you all.
Yes. No, attached to him. So maybe he forgot. With medical, I'm sorry, I didn't raise up my hand, Chair. But since he was
Go
on
ahead,
that topic.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Maybe-
And we're waiting for that. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, we're waiting for that acknowledgement and response to that formal letter. We're giving him to July 31. So that's the condition of the payment plan.
Shall we include that? I think we should refer to that also in our extension. Commissioner Arlino.
That's what I was trying to put out, that since that was pre-existing and now they're asking for this extension again, that you attach that and we go on that. So, you know, we could see it and he could see it. What's there anymore? It's already in black and white, what they specified at the onset, like what Mr. Mendiola said. So just attach that to the letter they're sending out.
Okay.
And, you know, give us, see.
Okay, very good. Shall we move? Shall we move? So we get a motion on the floor? 2-3 months? Or grant his request?
Are you talking about the request August to December or just to cut that?
Well, the requesting is for 5 months to December. Some of us are saying not for 5 months, 2 months. Some are saying 2 to 3 months. Can we get a motion then on the floor? Or shall we extend? I'm in favor of extending.
I'm in favor of what Commissioner Rios suggested earlier about a short, not an extension, but additional time for them, for for Northern Market to respond to the questions that we asked the last time at our last meeting and that we're re-asking again. And then I think it's a good thing to remind them, as Tony just presented, what the original agreement was that expires, Tony, that was the end of August this year, as far as the payment for the initial deferment?
Yes, August 1, yes.
Okay, oh, August 1st.
August 1st, yeah, next month, yeah.
Okay, and so, and then, okay, so we had given them the choice of either a balloon lump sum payment or the
rent deferment due of 72,762.91 plus their monthly rent.
Plus their monthly rent, and then
For 12 months for 1 year.
Okay, so those prorated payments were supposed to start August 1st?
That's correct now.
Okay, I mean, in a couple of days. To settle the rent deferment that was granted way back when, a few years ago.
That's correct now.
Okay. So, yeah, I go back to, I'm in favor of, like I said, a little bit more time, giving him time to explain and to propose a concrete repayment schedule of the original agreement and moving forward.
So is this an extension or is this, what are we doing? What is the,
Well, he's asking, from what I take, he's asking for an extension on beginning payments, right? I mean, essentially, he's supposed to start, he's either supposed to pay the balloon payment of 800 plus or start paying the 72,000 per month on the
And deferment and monthly rent.
and then plus the current rent. So he's asking for another 5 months on that. But what I'd like to do is like to give him a little more time to show us how he's going to do this. What does he have in the works that is going to ensure that the payments are going to start at the end of the year or January 1st, rather than to just say, okay, here's another 5 months, and we have no idea really as to what their current situation is, other than we understand their challenges. But I don't see in the letter, as Commissioner Camacho pointed out, as to, or even Commissioner Cruz, where's the light at the end of the tunnel, okay? What is in the works that will support that they will begin their rent payments? So I say give them a couple of months, like Commissioner Rios said, to answer those questions before we can say we'll give you that extension until January.
okay, Commissioner Lino.
I don't know whether it's right. I'm thinking that from the August 1st to August to December, and they have a prior letter stating that they will pay up this much and that much. Does that present, the most recent one, supersedes that request earlier? That's to Diego. Do you think that it will supersede that?
Yes, it does. It's on those terms. Commissioner Lino, it does.
Yes.
It's on those terms. If I may read this on the last letter that we send out, the formal letter, July 14th, I can read it to you. We noted based on the extension terms listed above, as well as the original deferral granted to Northern Market from October 2017 to present to July 21, the following payment plan options for deferral payment are: you either pay one lump sum payment of $873,000 by August 1, 2021, or a monthly installment in the amount of $72,000 for rent deferment for 1 full year, plus the full monthly rent of $25,322.
Monthly.
Yeah, so that is the terms that we gave them. And that letter was sent out July 14, and we're waiting for a response in that letter.
Okay.
So there is terms, conditions set on if you were to grant that rental deferment extension.
And that still stands.
Yes, it still stands. And that was the condition set since 2017.
Okay. And then now he's asking for up to December. Okay. So go ahead.
You have a
and what?
Gita,
Yes.
do you have a recommendation?
Diego, wanna?
Yeah, I agree with the Commissioners Rios and Westling and Cruz to to allow 2 more months, just so that Carlos can get himself back together and answer the questions that the commission has.
Okay.
Okay. We have a recommendation also from Gita that kind of falls in line with our discussion. So can we get a motion on the floor? And would that entail also the lump sum? The question of the lump sum. That's all.
Are you asking for my recommendation, Edith?
Yes.
Yeah, to address the payment plan that as as communicated.
Right.
Okay, can we get a motion on the floor?
I've never done a motion.
Okay, Commissioner Rios.
So
Not all at once. Commissioner Rios.
So I would like to put a motion on the floor to go ahead and give Carlos the 2 months deferment, of course, and then with, of course, an adjustment to the letter because that amount would, of course, increase over the next couple of months, and that should also be adjusted to that 1 year factor is how I think you came up with that amount, is all those years of the amount due was to be paid back within 1 year in with the additional rent. So yes, that's, can I do that?
Okay. That sounds good. There's the motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Lima. Can we have a vote? I'll go individually on this one this time. Commissioner Lino?
Yes, I agree.
Commissioner Laguardia?
Yes.
Commissioner Rios?
Yes.
Commissioner Camacho?
Yes.
Commissioner Westling?
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
And I approve. Motion unanimously passes. So just Masi. Ida?
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving to the next item. Are we done with Gita?
And
We are,
Chairman Echeverria.
as far as your report's concerned. Yeah, Tony?
So just re-clarifying, so the motion was granted for a 2 months full rent deferral, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
That sounds correct, right, Rios? Yes,
Yes.
he's confirming it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Gita, you're done with your report. So we're gonna move on to item number 6, old business, resolution number 2021-004, the land bank investment. That's the one that's dealing with our account at Coast 360.
Yes, Mr. Chair. You all received the resolution. Do I have to share my screen with you, or can you want me to just read it out, or I'll share the screen?
Commissioners?
Share the screen if you want.
Okay. Let's share the screen, Director.
Yeah. Today, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Laguardia? Yes.
What? Can I ask to be excused? I have another appointment.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Yeah, can I be excused? I have another appointment at 4:30. Is that okay? You still have to remain a quorum.
It's okay for me, Vice Chair.
Can you wait until the last minute? I think we got some very important issues coming up here. If it's possible.
Ready? Go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Director.
Okay, can you see the screen, the screen shared? Are you able to
I
see
see.
the shared screen?
We see the screen, but it's got blank.
Blank.
There's no information on it, basically.
Let me try to redo that. I'm having a difficulty here doing it.
Better make it quick, that's pure stone. No, that's the big one, that's the investment. You, tomorrow.
Are you okay, Director, or you want to move
Yeah,
it down to after Guru?
I'm trying, yeah, I'm going to eliminate my other screens here. It's conflicting with what I want to show you.
Why don't we move
Okay.
it down to after Guru's presentation or after the Guru report? Is that okay?
Okay,
Unless
well, do you see it now?
there it is. There it is. There it is.
Okay. Okay,
There
so
it
this is the resolution that you all agreed to at the last meeting to transfer $5 million out of our share account into time certificates of deposit for a 3-month period. Basically, it records all of that, and at the bottom here, where you see the cursor moving, which is whereas on July 14th, the Ancestral Lands Board Commissioner at the special meeting via Zoom by majority vote passed a motion to transfer a total of $5 million out of our trust account from the Land Bank Trust into jumbo term share accounts in the following amounts of 5 different amounts of equal amounts of $1 million into term shares or jumbo term shares. I sent this out to you earlier for your approval. The minutes have been approved earlier, so it means that based on that, we can transfer the funds. But if the resolution needs your approval, then I can prepare that for your signature for the chairman and the secretary treasurer, so I could access his accounts at the bank and move the money.
Madam Secretary? Madam Secretary?
I read that earlier, and I'll be signing as soon as I'm told to, let me know when
Okay.
to come and sign.
I'm good with it, Director. I'm good with it.
Okay, so
Looks
then I
good.
have it prepared and ready for you.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Okay, we can move on then, Mr. Chair, to the next item on the agenda.
Okay, we're on item number 4, old business B. Deerstone. Okay,
Okay, I believe Gita was supposed to have prepared the recommendation.
okay,
Mr. Chairman, I had spoken to my, my acting administrator right now is Ms. Joanne Camacho, former First Lady, about you know, Gita taking on the role of a financial advisor and investment advisor. She had told me that before we get into you know, into that kind of role, because it's you know, outside of just property management, she's requesting for a formal written request, just so that we have everything in order, you know, before Gita gets into that role. With that said, you know, and anything that, you know, Gita would say with regard to you know, uh, uh, any investment opportunity that the commission would be looking at is not going to be or I can't provide a yes you should, or no the commission shouldn't, but you know, I can provide comments, you know, just based on on the, you know, whatever proposal I see. So, but you know, as far as like financial and investment advice, you know, my boss wants to formalize that agreement before we head into that role. So, you know, just to let the commission know that, you know, until we work that out, you know, it'll most likely require a meeting between yourself and my boss, and you know, our respective attorneys, and you know, and ultimately the Gita board. You know, anything of what I say with regard to, you know, financial or investment advice, it's, you know, I can't say it's advice. I can participate if you would like, but I can't say that that's, you know, Gita's official position.
I see. So with regard to any future development proposals, until we have something in writing per se, it will still be unofficial. It would just be unofficial, or just
Yeah,
basic.
it won't. Yeah, you know, I don't want to say that this is Gita's official position or Gita's official advice, but you know, I understand that, you know, that, I mean, the commission understands, you know, and you've known me for a long time, that, you know, if there's any way I can help, you know, I'm always willing to. So if you would like me to participate in discussions, of course I'm willing to. I you know, got to say, as far as, you know, for official, you know, financial and investment advice, I just got to say, you know, it's not Gita's official position, you know, at this time, until you're able to, you know, meet with my boss, and you know, and we get approval from Gita's board.
So basically, that would also apply to Gura, or would it not, or is that just basically?
Yes, sir. But you know, I've always been willing to help. So what I've done is I've asked Director Tapasna to, you know, if I could get a copy of the presentation that he had given to you guys. So yeah, I mean, I do have the meeting, you know, recording, but you know, I prefer to get the, you know, the full presentation so I can really take a look at it. But you know, this is not so.
Okay.
So yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
So regarding the MOU, let's say that this would be like an MOU, right? Until you have something officially in writing, right? Like a similar MOU as what you're doing for us with our properties, correct?
Yes, sir.
So is Gita you know, interested in this particular type of service with GALC? We weren't sure.
Yeah, you know, the call is above my level.
Yeah. So, but the way it looks like, until you have something in writing, that means you are interested in this type of service with us.
You know, personally, or Gita?
I'm not referring to Gita. We're just discussing it because basically, you know, if you take part in helping us with this, of course, you're right. There's fees on all the transactions. So basically,
well, I mean, as it's always been, sir, you know, until some kind of agreement is actually set, I'm you know, I'm just helping you out.
I'll take it then unofficially, Gita's kind of interested per se.
Yeah, and because, I mean, because you know, I would imagine that you know, financial and investment advice, if you know, if an agreement is reached between Ancestral and Gita, more than likely it would be, you know, you would be dealing with Tina Garcia, our public finance manager, on, you know, on investment and finance advice.
I see. So that includes risk management, risk assessments.
I would think so, sir.
So Gita does have that expertise with risk assessments, correct?
We do have expertise and a lot of experience with regard to public finances. Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Okay, sounds. But right now, your input is unofficial. Just basically, we're gonna take it with a grain of salt for now until it is official. Correct?
Well, yes, sir. I mean, right now to be involved in in this discussion, I would have to be Diego. I'd have to change my name on the screen to just Diego, not Gita, Diego.
You're making it clear. You're making it clear.
Yeah,
Commissioner, you had your hands up real quick. Commissioner Lino? Commissioner Lino, you had your hands up? Oh,
You have to
you're on mute. You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
What I'm hearing is in order for Diego to partake in this financial assistance or whatsoever, that it has to be cleared because he's an employee under GIDA, and we have to clear with the director, Ms. Joanne, for now. He's willing to partake and assist in any ways, but it has to be official that GALC will send over like a MOU, like you said, for him to be officially put as Diego. But would that be another pay? Right, Diego? Because you are an employee
yes,
of GIDA?
I am an employee of GIDA. So, as far as with regard to property management, what I do is official for you. But, going into investment and financial advice, that's something else outside of what I do for the commission currently. So, I just wanted the commission to know that, I'm always willing to help, but for something like this, I cannot do it as GIDA until the commission and GIDA board come to an agreement for this specific type of
Okay, sounds
To
good.
the director of GIDA.
Okay, that's understood. That's understood. Okay, so let's move on. You want to give your unofficial Diego input? I'm sure you've. This is, of course, we're going to move into Gura's proposal as well. That'll be basically Diego's input. So let's move on.
Okay. I had taken a look at my team and I had taken a look at the presentation provided by Purestone. There were a number of things that caught our attention. Number one is the number they gave, 24 billion. That's what the Purestone says is the Guam buildup is valued at. We're wondering what is the source of that number? How old is it? How much has already been committed, awarded? Many of the construction contracts that we understand has already been awarded, and we assume that means that they also have a source of aggregate. So we're just wondering how reliable is the $24 billion figure. Purestone also says that 30% of the 24 billion will be for aggregate, cement, and concrete. There's just some statistics there that we wonder what is the source. Let's see. On page 7 of that presentation, the Purestone talks about problems with the with current companies, and we're just wondering, are those problems, were they stated by the by the Navy or the military, Department of Defense? If so, what are the sources of those complaints, or what is lacking with the current companies? Some of the other things that we saw was that Purestone indicates that production costs are high, but for as far as the inside the fence goes, the military is paying these costs. So what does that mean for Ancestral? Purestone says that they can upload 24 tons of cement in 10 minutes as opposed to 30 to 60 minutes. But in that in that presentation, Purestone does not address delivery of this cement, at least in that presentation. We wonder what is a preferred DoD contract, because contracts are normally awarded to construction companies, not necessarily aggregate suppliers. If the existing quarries that we have on Guam right now are near depletion, where does Purestone intend to get their aggregate? Let's see, Purestone's corporate strategy roadmap, they describe that they are going to purchase existing companies right now. We wonder in order to perhaps to better show the commission that this is the case, then perhaps, a purchase agreement could be provided, because, Purestone is saying that they're going to purchase the company, but, does the commission, what assurances does the commission have that these companies are actually willing to sell? Because overall, you're looking at an industry that's started to boom, is currently booming. So it kind of begs the question, do the current companies like Cortec, for instance, why would they be willing to sell when they just got contracts, for at least for the next couple of years? It seems it would make more sense if you were Cortec, you just got, multi-million-dollar contracts, and, the contracts are worth, a couple tens of millions. Would you personally sell your company, for 7.2, 7.4 million? So it's just kind of, yeah, so, it's just kind of odd. Let's see, what else do we, let me look at my notes. The thing about the proposal is that, it's basically, it's a loan, but what is the security of this loan? And by that, I mean, when the commission leases out property, your collateral is, it's obviously the land. If things don't work out, you can take it right back. But, it's a loan. So, for a startup company. So, at this point in time, I'm not sure if the commission knows what its security for this loan, because most, commercial lending institutions, there's always some form of collateral that's agreed upon by both parties. But, it's a note, it's a loan. So, what kind of collateral would the commission have if, things don't work out? I mean, I know doubling your funds, within a short time frame, it's very, very, very attractive. I can't dispute that. But, I would question, if things don't work out exactly, how it says in the proposal, where, there's willing sellers, and then, if the commission decides to get out, there's willing buyers. If those things don't pan out, then what does the commission get, for its money? I previously, I talked about, Purestone is suing Gulf Guam, but there was clarification. It's not Purestone US. It was Purestone LLC. But we're still, from my side, it's just I don't even know who the lawsuit is with right now. All I know is, it's a Purestone. Another thing that I just wanted to say to the commission is that, when over on Gita's side, when we have an amount of funds available, for certain purposes, we normally advertise that. And I've always had a little bit of confusion on, the commission status. Is it a line agency? Is it public? Because yes, the commission does generate its own revenue. However, the commission also gets general fund appropriations. So it's kind of just a little bit confusing. That's all. So if it's a public entity, then there are a lot of other things that that the commission would need to do. In my own personal opinion. For example, when Gita has funds to for grant purposes, we advertise it. We advertise it so that, everybody in the community has a chance to take advantage of that. If we were to take that model over to Ancestral, then if Ancestral were to advertise that, there is 5 million available for, investment opportunity, then, of course, you're letting the entire community know, and more importantly, the business community know, there's just a chance that perhaps another company may come to you with a better offer for your $5 million. So, I mean, overall, that's all I have to say. As far as I'm just an individual, please don't see me as Gita at the moment. So that's all I have on Purestone for now. Thank you.
Yeah, did you have dialogue with? I'm sure you had some dialogue with Purestone regarding some of the. Right now, you got a lot of questions. Did you clarify with how they got their data? And I'm expecting that you do the same thing with Gura, right? Because we're going to get other development, opportunities. So we're expecting that this is not going to be the last ones. We're expecting, a bunch more. So we're expecting to dialogue and clarify the situations with what it is. Have you done some clarification?
Sir, to Mrs. Stern's credit, she did reach out to me, and Ms. Stern, I'm not trying to be difficult with you. I just wanted to make sure that the commission understands my role, and because the commission is our client, and so we have to look out for I believe that I, Diego, and also Gita has to look out for the interests of the commission first. So, I just wanted to make sure
that would apply to all investments. That's why we want to have you as an MOU with you, because you basically not just this, but you're going to look out for all of our investments.
Yes, sir. So
so I would think that even with Gura's proposal, you're going to give us the total ins and outs if we got an MOU with you. But I think what you're preparing now is something separate with Gura, correct? I think it's just numbers.
With Gura, I just wanted to take a closer look at the presentation, because right now I just have the meeting recording. So I did ask Director Tapasna for a copy of his presentation, which I can take a look at if you want, as Diego, not as Gita. But until I just in declining to communicate with Ms. Stern before I spoke to the commission, I just want to be very, very, very careful, not to, what do you call that? I didn't want to accidentally fall into the role of assisting Purestone with their request to you. I just wanted to let make sure. Number one, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this as as a Gita employee, and that's why I'm stressing that right now speaking, I'm just me, not Gita, and so my desire is to assist you as much as I can on a personal level, but I just can't do this in an official Gita capacity. Yeah, until there's an agreement reached with my chairman and you, of course, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm definitely not trying to be difficult, just helpful, but
no. Okay, so basically your goal of a presentation will be of the same kind of substance, correct?
Yes, sir. But just to let you know, I did not receive the GOR presentation yet, so I don't have any comments on it, at least for this meeting.
I see. Were you there for that?
I was not. No, sir. I was not in that. I was not in that meeting. So that's why. I mean, that's why I did reach out to Director Tapasna to ask for a copy of it. But no, sir, I was not in that meeting.
Okay, very good. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, do you mind?
Okay, Angie, I'm sorry to see your hands. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. When Gura made the presentation to us, so I did ask Mr. Tapasnia to engage Gora because, we need to know what is the return on our investment. So there will be Mr. Tapasnia will be in touch with Gora.
With Gita.
I'm sorry, with Gora, correct. Gora will be in touch with Gita. So, and that's to give us some numbers to consider, right? As far as return on our investment.
Yeah, would that be a conflict if Gita has with Gita and Gura, and then this with ancestral lands, or there won't be no conflict per se?
So we're all government agencies, and I think that Gora is the appropriate, because this we're all government agencies. I think it's only appropriate that Gita assists us.
Yes, I agree. That's why I want to have them as working for us in our developments. But would there be any conflict if he's advising us of risk involved with Gura's proposal, anybody's proposal, any government proposal, or any proposal?
So,
we just want
yeah.
sound advice on good proposals. Is this if it's a good investment as opposed to putting it in the bank like what we have right now? Then is it a good proposal objectively? And that's what
I think it's a great idea to have a dialogue with Gita and seek their financial advice, right? So that's something that I would definitely suggest that we do. But definitely with regards to the lands building investment, Gita will be participating in that. And we are, again, all government agencies, right? Gora, Gita, Ancestral Lands.
I agree with you. The only thing, Diego, this is not a personal attack or nothing, okay? It's just do you have any positives on it? I mean, all we heard was negatives. I mean, I would think there'll be, okay, you have a list of positive and a list of negatives. I'm not saying your negatives are wrong, but would you have any positives? Is there anything about? I'm not expecting that from Gura's.
Well, I mean, the positive is the positive is right on the face. You're going to double your money.
If you have a list of negatives, you should have a list of positives. Just I'm not.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
May I, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, I didn't hear negatives. I heard questions. I heard where did they get this data from? So I'm not hearing negatives. I'm just hearing questions that Diego has about the proposal that was presented.
There was some negatives, like he won't see why they would sell. I'm not saying he's wrong. He's probably right. Maybe he's right. That
it's a question. Why would they sell?
Yeah, it sounds like.
I agree, Mr. Chairman, with Commissioner Camacho that what Mr. Mendola mentioned were questions. He said we would like to see the purchase agreement. He was asking for more information. And what about we would like to see what will be offered for security for the loan. That basically this looks like it's going to be a loan to a company to start up some kind of operation dealing with cement and aggregate. And what collateral, what security would Ancestral Lands have in that respect? So I did hear questions. I didn't hear negatives. It's just more data needed, like a portfolio. What was it? Rather than just a presentation, but more in-depth information so that we could, we're getting into financing now, and that's something that Gita is very much involved with. They are basically the financial investment advisors for the entire government of Guam, and we are a part of government of Guam. It's just that they want an MOU to work directly with us, with their financial advisor. So Mr. Majolo is pretty much providing information of stuff that we should look for, and that we should, as an agency, request before we make a commitment to anything in this amount.
Director, I would think that at least we would have some dialogue with
Yeah,
the parties involved to address it. Just having the questions. I'm not saying these questions are wrong. For all you're 1000% correct. It's just that I would expect some dialogue. Do you have any answers from the said proposal from
Yeah.
PSTN? Do you have any? Yeah, is there any? I would expect that there would be some kind of
There's no
response from.
authority. There's no authority. There's no authority for him to call. As far as I'm concerned, my opinion is he doesn't have any authority.
But that's from you. I like to hear it from you know, from Diego. You do have no authority to call.
Sir, I don't want to step out of my lane, and you know, my first loyalty is to the commission. I don't want to end up in, you know, in the middle of it, you know, of you know, assisting a potential an investment recipient, you know, in trying to help you know, Pearstone sell their proposal to you. So, and you know, I still wasn't clear until, you know, I spoke to my boss.
You did make it clear. You did,
Yeah.
and you're good with that. You did make it very clear. Okay,
Yeah,
can we
so-
get some responses and then we can move on to that
Yes,
Um,
actually, I want to chime in here. I just want to clarify or at least address, Diego, first of all, thank you. You didn't call me back, but I do appreciate your feedback anyway. And I agree with the Commissioner Angie. I think that I don't necessarily think the questions are negative. There's a reason why there's a due diligence period, and it's to make sure that all questions are addressed and everyone is very knowledgeable, understanding, and comfortable with the transaction moving forward. To address your question, I do want to say for the contracts, we will provide you with the purchase agreements. We have 2 out of the 3 purchase agreements signed already, which I could provide you as part of the due diligence package. If you want to give the example of Cortec and why they would sell, that is a variety of reasons why they would sell. We do not know what the exact reason is or what the triggering reason for them to sell is, but we can inquire if that's of interest to you. Could be a lot of things. Cortec is a huge company. They could be spread thin in terms of their investment or their footprint in Guam. A bond could be called on one of their contracting, one of their projects, which one bond could bankrupt any contractor, even the biggest one you have in mind. And it really is a cost benefit analysis to whether there is just as much benefit to sell and collaborate with the new owner versus running the operations yourself, depending on what your specialty or your concentration is for Cortec. I'm not a part of Cortec's company or management, so I can't fully answer that question for you, but we could provide you with the purchase agreements that you requested. That's part of the due diligence package. I wouldn't expect you to approve an investment without that information. Did that help?
Yeah, continue. Can you continue adding more?
Yes. Let me see what your questions were, Diego. Preferred vendor. So for the Department of Defense, when I say preferred vendor, and I don't know how the government of Guam does it, but there is a pre-qualification for all of the vendors that, or the contractors that the Department of Defense would use. For example, when I say Cortec Concrete was one of 5 companies, or, you know, Hanson, Black Construction was one of 5 companies that won $999 million 5-term DBMAC contract with the Department of Defense, then only when projects under that program come out, they're allowed to use one of those 5 contractors. That's what I mean. There's, of course, an award given. We could provide that for you. These companies were awarded these projects, et cetera, et cetera. Existing quarries. What was your question here, Diego? Where are they getting their aggregate? Or wanted to know where we might get our aggregate.
Both.
Okay. Well, to my knowledge, the market in Guam is depleting and has been depleting for many years. And there was a shortage of limestone or aggregate, I should say, being graded to the point where importing granite, I believe, was a niche market in Guam for a short period. And right now, I know one of the concerns is the current quarry operators have depleting reserves. And so they are looking all around the island. And the problem is, one, the quality of the rock, and two, we don't want to create any more additional eyesores on the island. And so I think the current quarry operators are continuing to create eyesores and dig all around. I don't know, other than the racetrack and the Paris property beside the racetrack, and maybe, I believe, another CLTC property near Hawaiian Rock, you know, those properties are being sought after, have been sought after for many years by the existing operators. Where we plan to get our aggregate is up north. There are a few private owners that have offered their land to us right next to where is known that northern part, Gennaro Road, where it's sort of understood that the quality of rock or materials and aggregates are very good in that area. One, of course, we're very open to what other sources of limestone there are on the island, but currently we're pursuing 2 other private lands. I do know that there are some government available lands, but we're not pursuing that right now.
Yeah, I remember both you and I were working on the Pure Stone CLTC, which, you know, in my personal opinion, would have been a great thing for CLTC and the industry and all that, but you know, it didn't work out.
I concur, I agree, but let's move on. Okay, one of your other questions, okay, the purchase agreements, the proposal, yes, it is a loan, and the security of the loan are the earnings. You have to remember that we are purchasing existing corporations on the island. They currently have total earnings of, I think, 7 million per year. That over the course of the 5 years for the trust would be roughly $35 million. And that is 7 times the amount of the trust loan or the investment proposed. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Your other concern, I think, is a GITA trust concern, the one with the MOU or something. You're saying that you guys, in order to be at official capacity, you have to have some kind of agreement with GITA, but you're willing to provide some feedback. As long as the trust or the commission allows us to talk to you, Diego, I can put all of your questions or the answers to your questions also in writing and circle it around to the trust.
Just a reminder, he's like unofficial with Gita. It's basically his personal.
Okay.
Doesn't prevent work communicating.
Go ahead, continue.
Okay, the other items that Diego brought up, the 24 billion, I do have a resource for that, and I could give that to you along with the purchase agreements. The 34, everything you referenced, I will provide that backup information for. Oh, problems. You're saying that, Diego, let me see if I understand your question correctly. Did you want to know where we came up with our problems or the backup information surrounding the problems we identified with the market? Am I?
What I was saying was that the presentation indicates that there are problems with the incumbent companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know, you know, it just says that there are problems.
Yep.
But, you know, it says, you know, if they still have and are still being awarded contracts, you know, from defense,
Right.
why would defense contract with a problematic
Oh,
contractor, you know?
yes,
So,
yes.
you know, yeah,
Yep.
so, you know, I mean, overall, it's just you know, there's a lot of, personally, I see a lot of assumptions, you know. We assume that, you know, if the commission, you know, gives Pearstone money, Pearstone can purchase all of these, you know, these existing companies. And if things go south, you know, there will be buyers, willing and ready buyers, you know, for the note or for the shares. So, you know, there's just a lot of assumptions there. So, you know, on a personal level, not a GITA official capacity level, you know, I would just tell the commission, you know, just be careful with your, you know, with your money.
Yeah.
That's all. But yeah, you know, you know, overall, just anyone who has money should just be very careful where and how they invest it, and, you know, as much due diligence as possible. But, you know, this is the commission's trust. It's, you know, it's not GITA's, it's not mine. So, you know, this is in the commission's hands to, you know, to say okay or not. And I just wanted to be very careful about, you know, being or coming off as an agent, you know, in this official capacity for this, you know, for this purpose. So
Right. You don't work for Pearstone US Inc. You're
yeah, you know, I mean, say you answered all of my questions, and then I would, you know, I would be here saying, you know, Pearstone answered all of these questions. You know, it's not for me. It's, you know, it's for Pearstone to, you know, to pitch to the commission, not, you know, not me.
Yes, I agree.
So, yeah, so I'm just helping in a personal capacity, but, you know, the dialogue should really be with the, you know,
Yes,
commission.
yes. I agree.
Right.
I'm sorry to interrupt real quick, but Director, I know you're pressed for, I think our time is, we have about, it's 4:58, and I know you have staff still at work. I think maybe, I don't know if we can go on too much longer. Could I get a take on that, Director?
Could go on for a little bit longer and I'll give them a CTO, but it's not too much longer. And that the rest of the agenda will be held until the next meeting after Pearstone, everything from GURA to APL and the risk assessment.
Yeah, is the board fine with that? So the next items below will have to move on to the next, but we could still do a little bit more discussions with GITA and Pearstone, but then we'll set the next schedule for the rest, for the next meeting.
Diego.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Yes, Diego is not official as far as GITA is concerned at this point in time.
Yeah.
He can't
Right.
represent their agency
Yes.
with the discussion. He can assist us.
Yeah, they're not.
So I just
It's
need
not
to
going to
be-
give me a PTO.
I won't give him a CTO.
But I'm here because I love you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Diego, we want to have an MOU. we need your help. Okay, but Samantha, do you have anything more you might want to add real quick?
Yes, actually, you know, I wanted to express that I think this is a very sound investment for the trust. Over the next 5 years, which is the period of the loan, these three companies are projected to earn roughly $35.5 million. And I mentioned that earlier, that's 7 times the amount of the trust loan. In addition to earning 5% interest, the trust has the possibility to substantially make more by converting the loan into shares, converting the loan into shares of the company's stock. And the two hypotheticals that I have are if the trust were able to sell its 2.5 million shares at a sell price, for example, I think I mentioned it earlier, $4 a share, that would result in $10 million. Now, if you take the $10 million and deduct the $5 million investment right off the bat, that's a $5 million profit, and so forth. If the share price was $6 a share, then the trust profit would be $10 million, which is the 2.5 million shares times $6 of your result, which would result in $15 million. And you take the 15 million and deduct the investment of the trust with a $10 million profit. I think it will also create benefits for the island. We, with the increases of, we anticipate hiring 65 employees. And over time, we anticipate hiring an additional 35 employees to supply the concrete expected from the demand of the exclusive supply contract that we expect to have with one of the purchase agreements signed. These will be good paying jobs and certainly more than the employees would be making at, say, Walmart. And our efforts will increase the Guam GDP. And I think I mentioned even in our last presentation that the benefit of this particular investment is it is on the island. It is in your backyard. You folks drive past it every single day. And it is Native and woman owned.
Native tomorrow.
Yes, Native Chamorro.
Any questions? Any questions?
Ron, did you, Ron, my attorney, I know there's a lot of Rons on here. Ron, did you want to add anything? You're on mute though.
Yes, Samantha, the members of the trust, thank you so much for speaking with us this evening. In addition to the details that Samantha provided in the excellent questions of Diego, I think it's important for us to look at this holistically from the big picture. And the big picture is that it is well known that the Department of Defense is going to spend billions of dollars on the island of Guam over the next X years, whether it's 35 billion or 30 billion or 25 billion or what precisely the number is. Everyone on the island knows that there's going to be an extraordinary amount of money being spent with respect to the Guam buildup for the military that's moving to Guam. We all know in our common sense, we know that what will be needed in order to supply the facilities that these military personnel need is concrete. And so we all understand that there's going to be an enormous demand for concrete over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That's point number one. So looking at this holistically, there is going to be a huge demand for the product that these particular companies supply. And number two, concurrently with the acquisition of these three existing businesses, the businesses will have an exclusive supply contract to provide all the concrete needs for a current supplier to the Department of Defense. And in connection with the due diligence that the trust will do, we will provide a copy of that exclusive supply contract, and we'll be able to provide information as to the specific contracts that this particular contractor to the DoD has. So number one, we've got this enormous demand that we know about. Number two, these particular companies have this exclusive supply contract. And what does that mean? So that means that some portion of the huge demand is going to flow to the benefit of these three particular companies. And therefore, these companies will continue to generate cash and earnings. Currently now, based on their current operations, as Samantha mentioned, they have approximately 7.1 million in earnings they generate annually. As the demand for the concrete continues to increase over time, as we know it will over the next 5, 10, 15 years, that is going to, those earnings and profits will continue to increase, and hence will provide 5, 7, 10, 15 times potentially over time the amount of cash needed in order to repay the particular this particular loan. And so we certainly will provide all the detail that that has been discussed, and we're happy to do it, and we'll provide it. I did want the members of the commission to keep in mind the big picture here and have an understanding of how this investment is going to be realized as profitable for the trust by virtue of the simple economics of what's occurring on the island. And thank you.
Okay, very good. I think we're going to have to do more due diligence with regard to the risk assessment, and I think that was on the next topic. But we're going to have to have that done on the next meeting. So, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question. There's a matter of process. And I'm wondering whether at this meeting or perhaps the next meeting, whether it would be possible to, after further consideration by the commission, whether it would be possible to secure a vote of the commission in favor of the loan, subject to due diligence.
Subject to due diligence?
Yes, sir. Whether.
That would, I guess, that would depend on the due diligence. I think I'm not sure if we could do a conditional approval. I think the due diligence would have to come in first, unless somebody has any other input on that. But I think the due diligence would have to be done first, especially with the risk assessment. Yeah, we're gonna need definitely expert advice on any of these investments. So Gita's gonna speak. I'm sorry, who had their hands up?
Me, Chairman. I have a quick question. I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Is there is risk assessment separate or the same as due diligence? And maybe what
I think it's included with it. Yes, it's included with it. I mean, if we get some expert advice on this, the board can make a sound decision on any of our investments. This sounds like a good, we haven't had an investment like this. That's why it's, I really want to get sound advice from Gita, and then if we need to get a couple of, maybe one or two other outside sources. That's why risk assessment is there on our agenda, but we didn't get to it. It would have been after this discussion on this Purestone investment and Gura, but we didn't get to it. So does that answer your question, Samantha? So in order for the board to move on on any investment, we're going to need to be very confident in the investment. So I know it's somewhat of a loan, but it is an investment also, correct? So I think we're gonna have to take, or we're gonna, it's gonna have to, we're gonna have to take up the subject. We're gonna have to do more due diligence on it, from what I understand, the way it looks. Board members? And I'm sorry we didn't have enough time to get to Dora's presentation. I mean, Dora's subject, the subject of Dora investment. Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in closing, following this meeting, would it be possible for us to have a conversation with you or your designee to determine what the process would be for the next steps to move forward?
Yes, you can get a hold of our director. You can get a hold of our director, Don Birch.
Okay.
We don't have an MOU with Gita. Again, that was just basically a courtesy input from with Diego. We understand that. Okay, it's not binding. Okay, and Diego, we appreciate that very much. We're going to take that fully into account here. Okay, so
I have a question.
Commissioner Cruz?
We have not made any decisions, so I don't know what process he will need to do. So right now, this is really, and we need to have our, whenever we have this kind of presentations, we really need our attorney to be present.
Yeah.
I do not, yeah.
Okay, does that answer your, as far as who did, well, I don't think he's saying, I don't think I think he, could you clarify your question, Ron?
Yes, sir. I apologize. The question wasn't well framed. What I'm trying to understand is what will be the process for us to provide the due diligence information that will be needed for the trust to perform its due diligence and risk assessment.
Okay, well, we don't have an MOU with Gita, so I can't really say Gita. But I would say our director, Director Birch.
Okay, thank you. We
You
will liaise with.
You send it to me and I'll get it to our attorney. And he's on leave at this time. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. And so otherwise he would have the answer to that.
Director Birch?
Yes.
Okay, so just to clarify that I will include the requested documentation and Diego's inquiries and send it to you and CC Diego.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll make sure I process it through to our attorney to have him review it.
Okay, and that you have an attorney email, your attorney's email you want me to CC also?
Okay. Yeah, I'll send you his email address.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're good to go unless there's any other questions. Any other questions? Okay, can we decide on when our next hearing would be? Or is there any, because everything else in the agenda is going to be pushed to the next meeting.
Okay, Mr. Chair, how soon would you want it? Are you going to stick with the regular schedule of second and fourth Wednesdays of the month?
Yes.
Then the next will be August 11th.
Yeah. So what's the date for that?
August 11th. Would it be a general meeting or a special meeting?
That should be a general meeting.
Okay.
A general meeting.
A regular meeting.
A regular meeting, yeah, regular meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you again,
Okay.
Gura and PSTN. Thank you for your presence. Board members, thank you. It's now 5:16. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, commissioners. We'll see you at the next meeting. Adios.
Thank you. Adios.
Adios.
Okay, hold on, let me leave the meeting.